Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about heat training not necessarily being heat damage. Like, I know it's a lot of controversy around this topic, but I wanted to make this video for people that are out there and are natural and they want to suppress their hair but they're too afraid to. So hopefully in this video I can clarify things for you so you can know if heat training is right for you. So the first thing I want to say is that I am a licensed cosmetologist and I do specialize in natural hair. So since silk pressing is the only service that I offer, I wanted to get on here and explain why silk pressing and heat training is not necessarily going to lead to heat damage based off of my experience and my knowledge from doing hair. So the word damage is subjective in this context because whenever you are receiving dryness, your hair is breaking and is shedding and it doesn't style properly, that's considered damage. Now, if you are heat training your hair and you don't experience those things, then your hair isn't necessarily damaged because you can grow long hair and heat train and it not be damaged. Whenever you are talking about heat damage, I feel like you have to explain the science and the bonds in the hair, because ultimately that is what people perceive heat damage is whenever you alter the bonds in the hair. So let me explain that a little bit. So you have hydrogen bonds, salt bonds, and disulfide bonds in the hair. Whenever you wet your hair, you are breaking the hydrogen bond, and whenever style you put your hair in is how you reform the hydrogen bond. So if you decide to silk press your hair often or start heat training your hair, you are constantly breaking the hydrogen bond and the salt bond in the hair. But whenever you decide to wet your hair again, your curl pattern should go back to its original form. So if you decide to heat train, you are going to only break the hydrogen bond and the salt bond in the hair, and once you wet your hair again, your curls will bounce back. That's only if you break those two bonds, because those are temporary bonds, and those bonds are meant to be broken by water and heat, and they are meant to bounce back to their original form once you wet your hair again. Now, the permanent bond in the hair is the disulfide bond. So whenever you're using relaxers, color, or if you are straightening your hair and you're using if you are using too high of a temperature, that is how you can break the disulfide bond in the hair, and that is the permanent bond that you are breaking. So once you do decide to heat train your hair, you really have to know the condition that your hair is in before you decide to heat train it, because a lot of us naturals, what we do is, and like a lot of my clients, what I see is that they get heat damage instantly after straightening their hair, and it's because whenever you wet the hair, like I said before, you are breaking the hydrogen bond in the hair. So if you constantly air dry your hair, your hydrogen bond is weak and it's in a fragile state. Whenever you constantly are brushing your hair with water every day, you are creating gaps and tears in the cuticle, the outside layer of the hair. So over time you can be receiving damage without using heat on your hair. And then once you finally do flat iron your hair, you instantly get heat damage. That's why when you see someone with heat damage after straightening their hair one time, a lot of the times that damage is on the ends of the hair. Why? Because the ends of the hair are the weakest part of the hair. They're the oldest. They receive the most wear and tear. And that is why when you see people with the healthiest looking curls, their curls can be bomb. I'm telling you, the juiciest, bounciest looking curls in the world, because I've seen it before with clients. But as soon as you straighten the hair, what do you see? You see very thin ends, you see gaps, you see breakage and all of that, because just because you have pretty curls, that doesn't necessarily mean that your hair is healthy. You have to see your hair in its curly state and you have to see your hair in its straight state in order to really determine if your hair is healthy or not. So I recommend people do go see a stylist just so they can straighten your hair. And always make sure that you have on a white cape whenever someone's straightening your hair so you can see the back. A white cape is like, it tells it all. You would think you had the healthiest hair in the world, but get it straightened and see your ends under a white cape. If you have extreme big gaps in the hair, if it's extremely see-through at the ends, then you can tell like, okay, well maybe my hair isn't as healthy as I thought it was. So once you see your hair under that white cape, if you have full nice ends, then that's a good indicator, like, okay, my hair is looking good in its curly state, my hair is looking good in its straight state. So that is a good indicator that your hair is healthy enough to start heat training. If you do decide to heat train your hair, it's so important for you to start off with healthier hair, just so you don't get heat damage instantly. How often you straighten your hair in order to get it heat trained is, everyone's hair receives heat differently, so it's going to be based off how your hair responds to heat. And if you are using the correct temperatures and the correct techniques, then you shouldn't be receiving damage. And how often, like I said, it's going to be based on how your hair receives heat. If you want to start off with once every 2 months, then I suggest doing that to see just how your hair responds to it. If you're not receiving breakage, if your curls aren't loosening up, then it's okay to continue to heat train. But just pay close attention to your hair. Whenever I see a loose curl or the elasticity in my hair loosen up, that is when I take my break. So if you guys want more information on how to properly heat train your hair, go watch my last video, and then I'll also link it down in the description box. So that can give you a good indicator on how I was able to do 20 silk presses in a year and still keep my curl pattern. But once you start heat training your hair, you will notice that your curls are starting to loosen up. Now, when you are reforming those bonds in the hair, because once you continuously straighten your hair is going to reform into a straighter state. So, and some people might perceive that as the bonds breaking down, you're altering the bonds, and whenever you get loose curls, it's considered damaged. But my hair isn't damaged. I still have healthier hair now that I use more heat than versus when I didn't use heat and I used to air dry and try to stay away from heat. My hair was more damaged then than it is now. As you guys can see from my previous suppressed videos, my ends are a lot fuller. They're not thinning out as much as they used to because I changed a lot of things in my regimen. Okay, so let's get back to hair elasticity. So hair elasticity is the hair's ability to stretch and bounce back to its original state. So once you start using heat, you will notice that your curls start loosening up. Now, where damage comes into place is that you start to lose the elasticity in your hair and you don't incorporate treatments. So you need to incorporate Olaplex, and you need to incorporate hydration treatments if you have low porosity hair. If you have high porosity hair, then you can do protein treatments. If you have low porosity hair, you can still use products with small amounts of protein to help keep your hair healthy. So if you are not incorporating treatments, that is when I started to see a lot more straight pieces. That's when I started to see my curls like really looking limp. So in order to prevent the damage, that's what you want to do. You want to incorporate treatments into your regimen. Do not start heat training unless you are ready to spend, you know, a little bit of money on those treatments. So some people can go ahead and heat train their hair without incorporating treatments, but if you are really scared to use heat, I suggest that you do those treatments to prevent your hair from having those straight pieces. So that sums up this video. I hope this video was not confusing, and this video was not easy to explain and to tell people, like, hey, don't be afraid to use heat on your hair as long as you do it correctly. I know it's a lot of misconceptions out there, but you can do it and still keep your curl pattern. If you have not seen my previous videos on how to properly heat train your hair, I'll link a couple of videos down below, because in those videos I am explaining throughout the video what I'm doing and how I do it to keep my curl pattern. So I hope this video wasn't too confusing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions, you can leave them down below. Let's have a healthy discussion about heat though. Let's not, you know, turn it into an argument, or don't bash anyone for using heat on their hair. Let's just have a healthy discussion about it. So yeah, leave those questions and comments down in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in my next video.